Good morning. How are you all? Hope you all are fine. Have you enjoyed your Diwali vacations? Very good. Now we all will prepare ourselves for a second term. Yes. Now let's prepare and be ready for the next term, that is second term exams. Today we are going to learn history, block number 9, and the name of the chapter is Path of Devotion. We have observed certain rituals of worship being followed during religious ceremonies. These rituals could be singing devotional songs like bhajans, kirtans, or qawwalis, offering flowers and fruits to deities, or even fasting. All these rituals or practice have came from various kind of religious movement that have evolved in India since the 7th century, 601 to 700 CE. Belief in the Supreme from 500 CE to 1500 CE. With the growth of towns, trade, and empire, new ideas of worship began to develop. During the Vedic period, people worship the element of nature, fire, air, and water. Within the growth of With the growth of towns, trade, and empires, new ideas of worship began to develop. During the Vedic period, people worshipped the element of nature, fire, air, water, and earth, in the form of gods and goddesses, through many rituals. Bhakti, or the idea of devotion, that was explained in Bhagavad Gita. You can see figure 1. was widely accepted. Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, and their avatars were supreme deities worshipped. Society was divided into distinct compartments of caste, and it was believed that a person's social class was determined by birth. You can see figure 1, an 18th century manuscript depicting the Kurukshetra war from the Bhagavad Gita. See this picture. This type of rigid and intolerance belief in social differences made many turn to the teaching of the Buddha or Mahavira. Others, who continued to feel attracted by the idea of Supreme God, took the path of devotion or bhakti preached by the reformers of the age. During this time, Islam came to India. During this period, several travelers and traders who visited India each brought along his own belief and religious ideas, which played a role in influencing the religious thought of the time. The Arab traders who practiced Islam settled on the southwest coast of India. The kings of South India allowed them to build mosques. Later, to Islam, when the Turks, Afghans, and Mughals invaded India, the Sufis mystic tradition that had the origin in present-day Iraq become visible during the period of Delhi Sultanate. Thus, two religious reform movement, Sufism and Bhakti movement, flourished side by side, and the Bhakti movement was a belief and practice in which these followers of Islam sought divine love and knowledge through meditation. Song and joyful dancing both shared the common belief of tolerance and understanding and were against the rigid division of the religious like Hinduism and Islam. The Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement was a religious development that promoted the belief that every man could achieve salvation irrespective of caste, social status, or gender. The Bhakti saints rejected the traditional ritualistic religious belief and supported the fact that all men were equal. They drew their inspiration from the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and preached that bhakti meant single-minded devotion to one God. Main feature of bhakti movement rejected rituals and sacrifices, emphasized the purity of heart and mind as path of devotion, preached personal worship to God without the interference of Brahmins priests, discarded all complicated rituals, looked down on caste differences and the ill treatment of women, promoted the importance of the teacher or guru to help secure true knowledge of devotion, preached in a simple local language that was easily understood by all people, used music, song, and dance as expression of devotion. Bhakti movement in South India. According to historians, the Bhakti movement began in South India around the 6th century. Its reformists and poet saints, many of whom were women, preached devotional love for the Supreme God. Women saints like Andal and Karaikal Ammayar were famous poets of the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement of South India had two schools of belief. One who believed God has a form or saguna. The Vaishnavas who worshipped Vishnu and the Shivas who worship Shiva. This was one group, and they believed that God has a form in a physical way. Today you can see the idols or the statues or the pictures of God. This was believed by this particular group, which was Saguna. Those who believed that God was formless or Nirguna. The Nirguna discarded idol worship and believed that God is present everywhere and is found within the heart of man. And the second group who believed that God is formless, He is present everywhere. We cannot mention Him in an idol or a statue or a picture. Either we don't know He is a man or a woman. So they believe that God is everywhere. Whomever He is, He, she, whomever it is, He is present everywhere. The Nainars, who were Shivas, and the Alvas, who were Vaishnavas, were noted saints of this movement. Although they came from different backgrounds of caste, gender, and livelihood, they all drew upon the ideal of love and heroism to blend with the values of bhakti of God Vishnu. They moved from place to place, composing beautiful poems in praise of the deities in temple of village they visited. In 10th century, King Rajaraja Chola compiled the hymns composed by Nenas into a series of volumes called the Tirumarai. The Alvars composed 400 Tamil verses known as Divya Prabandham. Among the many Bhakti saints, Ramanuj, born in Tamil Nadu in the 11th century, was deeply influenced by the Alvars. Adi Shankara, a devotee of Shiva, another well-known Bhakti saint, believed in the idea of Advaita, meaning true self. Another popular Shiva's teacher of the south, Basavana, started the Lingayat movement. He rebelled against the rigid practice of the caste system. Even though he was born in a Brahmin family, you can see temple figure 2. Temples built by Chola and Pandya kings around many of the shrines visited these saint poets connected to Bhakti tradition to temple worship. They compiled hymns and encouraged sculpture in temples dedicated to the Bhakti saints. The hagiographies or religious biographies of the Alvars and Nainars provided a rich source of information of this time. Bhakti movement in West India. The Bhakti movement played an important role in religious belief of the people of Maharashtra in medieval period. The saints of Maharashtra, the Varkaris, meaning pilgrim, a Hindu community in Maharashtra shared spiritual belief based on bhakti and worship Vittal, a form of Vishnu. The idea of complete devotion or bhakti appealed to many saints like Tukaram, Namdev, and Sakhubai, who belonged to the community of untouchables. They were not allowed to enter the temple and participate in any form of worship. These saints rejected the baseless rituals and caste heresy of Hinduism. Instead, they preach that to attain salvation, one does not have to leave one's home and family. Many of them preferred to live with their families and serve fellow men in need. Another important Bhakti saints of Maharashtra were Jnaneshwar, Eknath, and Chokhamela. New religious development. The period after the 13th century saw a new wave of Bhakti movement in North India. It was during this time that Islam, Hinduism, Sufism, and various thoughts of Bhakti influenced one another, resulting in the birth of diverse religious communities. The Nagpanthis, founded by Gorakhnath, were followers of Shiva and known by different names. Yogis from yoga, Gosains from masters of sense, and Naths, which is derived from the Lord. They believed that the path to salvation lay in meditation and intense training of the mind and body through a practice of yoga. Similarly, the Siddhas or the Shiva saints too believed that the path to salvation lay in practice of yoga. Swami Ramananda, a prominent Vaishnava saint who worshipped Lord Rama, he welcomed people from all castes and had a leather worker, a barber, and a Muslim weaver among his 12 closest followers. In North India, Saint Kabir and Baba Guru Nanak too rejected too complicated rituals practiced in traditional religions and preached the language of love and equality. Others like Tulsidas wrote poems and verses that were easy for all to understand. His composition Ramcharitmanas, written in Avdi, is an important literary work. Similarly, Surdas, the blind saint, was a passionate devotee of Krishna, composed simple verses in the local language in praise of God. Other saints of the time included Dadu Dayal, Ravidas, and Mirabai. Mirabai was a Rajput princess whose songs dedicated to Krishna openly challenged the rituals of the upper castes and were popular with the people of Rajasthan and Gujarat. And here you can see a story of Namdev also. You can read the story which we will discuss during our online session. Okay, students. The Bhakti saints of East were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal and Shankar Deva in Assam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great saint and a social reformer in 16th century Bengal. He worshipped God in the form of Krishna through songs and dances, while Shankardeva wrote simple verses in praise of God in a local language. He set up Namgrahas or community prayer hall that exist even today. Common people, especially craftsmen, farmers, and traders, were attracted to these new saints and their idea as they were easy to follow. Here you can see in figure 4 Saint Kabir, meaning the Great One was born 1398 CE in Banaras. There are many stories related to his birth. His mother is said to have been blessed before his birth by the great teacher Ramananda. Others says he was found on lotus floating as a baby on a lotus leaf in a tank in Banaras by a Muslim weaver. Throughout his life, Kabir preached and worked as a weaver in Banaras. His vast collection of verses or dohas written in Hindi appeal to the common man and are sung by wandering bhajan singers. They were easily understood and based on example from daily life. The central teaching of Kabir's legends appealed to the poor and oppressed. He made no distinction between Hindus and Muslims and preached that one could come near God through bhakti or devotion. Like other bhakti saints of that time, he rejected the authority of both the Vedas and the Quran and laid emphasis on the equality of men. Same time, Baba Guru Nanak, you can see figure 5. Guru Nanak, founder of the Sikh religion, is considered as one of the greatest religious reformers. His ideas were based on both Hindu and Islamic thought. Although he was born in a Hindu family, he studied the holy books of both Islam and Hindu. One famous story about Guru Nanak's tale of his rebellious nature at the age of 11. At this age, Hindu boys of his caste would start to wear a sacred thread to distinguish them from others. Nanak refused, saying that people should be known by their actions and their individual qualities rather than by the thread. Guru Nanak believed and preached that there is only one God who is formless or Nirakar, and that all human beings have a direct path to God without rituals or priests. He was against the division of caste and gender and encouraged the simple system of Nam Japna, Kirt Karna, or welfare of others, and Vanda Chakna, or right conduct, to bring about social equality. He encouraged a common kitchen or langar. He encouraged where everyone, regardless of their position, came together to cook, serve and eat. His teachings were similar to all the contemporary saints such as Kabir, Ravidas and Dadu. The compositions of Baba Guru Nanak, along with the sum of the teaching of Saint Kabir, and compiled in the Guru Granth Sahib in a new script called Gurmukhi. Sufism. Who were the Sufis? Sufis were deeply religious Muslim saints and mystic who led a simple and pure life with an emphasis on self-discipline, while Muslim believes that one could attain God in paradise. Sufis believed that it was possible to come close to God in this life. Among the great Sufis of Central Asia were Al-Ghazali, Rumi and Sadi. The Sufis were against the strict code of behavior demanded by Muslim religious scholars under the Shikra law. Like a Bhakti saint's poet, the Sufis composed musical recitation called Sama that expressed their feeling. They also performed the Hindu and Buddhist yoga practice of holding their breath. Sufis believed in the ritual of training of the mind using zikr, chanting of name, contemplation, reflection of devotion, sama, singing, raqs, dancing, and breath control under the guidance of a master or a peer. Teaching of Sufism. There is only one God. All humans are equal and are God's children. God can be reached through love and devotion. Fast and rituals are not necessary for this. One should be a good Hindu or a good Muslim, led a pure and disciplined life. Religions are different paths leading to one God. Therefore, all religions must be respected. one can come closer to God through devotional music or qawwalis. These liberal ideas and belief had a profound impact on the people and their rulers. It encouraged religious tolerance, promoted the idea of universal brotherhood, and brought Hindus and Muslims closer to one another. Salim Chisti. Salim Chisti in 1478 to 1572 CE was a Sufi saint of the Chisti order. When Akbar, the great Mughal ruler, came to Chisti's home deep in the desert, seeking a male heir to his throne, Chisti blessed him. Soon, the first of three sons was born to him. He named his first son Salim, later Emperor Jahangir. In honor of Chisti, Akbar held the Sufi saint in such high regard that he had a great city, Fatehpur Sikri, built around his reciting place. Understood, students, the story? Okay. Now, again, you are going to listen the video very carefully. Go through your textbook, mark down your queries and doubts so we can solve it during our online lecture. And after this lecture, I am going to give you some homework also, which you have to complete in your book. So during online lecture, again we are going to revise this, plus we are going to discuss about the workbook, the question answers, and I am going to see whether you have completed your work or no. Okay, so go study and be ready for the next period. Till then, bye bye.